Good morning, good afternoon and good evening, whatever time you are watching and or listening to this. Welcome back to another episode of Drive Time Crypto with me, Crypto Chris. Coming up in today's episode, Bitcoin is looking strong. Never doubt a wild card. Why invest when you can buy? Praise the Lord. Shut up and take my money. Can you buy a house with Bitcoin? And finally, how to win at parenting. But before we dive into all that, if I can ask a massive favour, a free way of supporting this channel is to give me a like, if you could give me a comment, but most of all, if you could please subscribe to my channel. It will help me grow this community and reach more people and help with the YouTube algorithms, and I would really appreciate that. With that being said, let's start the engine and let's get going. The first pit stop. Okay, over the weekend there has been a lot of nice price news. There's a lot of websites reporting on Bitcoin and the price that it's at. We saw it shoot up on Friday evening to $63,000. It has come back down slightly in price, and there was a lot of hope for it to close the weekly above 60,000. That would be the first time it's ever done that. On the start of this video, when I checked, it was at 59,600, and there's roughly about 2 hours to go before the weekly closes. So it could do it. It's just a fraction under it, but we'll wait to see. But it says Bitcoin price as all-time high weekly close above 60,000 ahead of Bitcoin ETF turbulence. Now, what I would say is that we've got to be mindful that it is a weekend, even though it's still a very bullish sign. As this says, Bitcoin bears get skittish as Bitcoin threatens all-time highs, says crypto analyst Benjamin Cohen. And here's why. So basically, because they have been saying that since the middle of the year, when we had that big knockback, that we were actually going into a bear market. Now that the prices have risen and they keep rising, and now we're into the 60,000 mark, that they're running out of valid reasons why we would be in a bear market, and we're actually in a bull market. But like I said, because it's a weekend, we've got to be mindful. The news of an ETF came in late on Friday, and that means that most of the institutional action doesn't really tend to happen late on a Friday, and it certainly doesn't really tend to happen over the weekend. So everything that we've been seeing on the weekend is predominantly retail investment, and with that, it's never normally a true reflection of what the market's going to feel and do come Monday. So it's going to be interesting if it manages to get back over 60,000 and closes over 60,000, albeit it's setting a new weekly high closeout. It's being done on a weekend with a lot of good news on the Friday, but Monday I feel is going to be a true reflection if this ETF starts trading on Monday, and when the institutions come back in on Monday, what's going to happen with the price, where's Bitcoin going to go. I think that Monday today is going to be a true test of the price, and to see whether we're going to drop down further or shoot off into all new time highs, or just it could get really messy and quite volatile, the prices throughout the week. Normally when you see such massive news, such as El Salvador, when they adopted it, what happened to the markets? The markets took a tanking. They took a real heavy price hit. So with the euphoria and the excitedness of this ETF that's being granted by the SEC, I'm kind of thinking that when this does start trading, possibly today, maybe in the next couple of days, when it does though, the prices may tank, and it might just get quite volatile in that space there. So, but we can't predict the future. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. But yes, please be mindful that it is the weekend and these prices may change today. So, moving on from there, the next bit of news is Cardano, at risk of slipping down the rankings, could prove fatal for ADA. So, this reads, Cardano has fallen down the cryptocurrency rankings, losing third place to Binance Coin. The network went on a strong price rally that catapulted it to third place after setting an all-new time high of $3.10. ADA is currently the fourth largest cryptocurrency and has a market cap of $73.6 billion. Cardano's reign as the third largest crypto has come to an end after it was surpassed by Binance Coin. Right, so I think that there's a bit too much premise put on actual standings within the cryptocurrency space, because even though it's slipped down to fourth, markets go up and down in all sorts. There's always going to be a dominant one. There's always going to be ones that aren't as dominant, but that's never to say that these ones that have declined can't go back up, and vice versa. In all markets, in all walks of life, you'll always get a top company in a certain field that's leading the way, and then they might fall off, and one that's been down in fourth, fifth place in the rankings may go on to be an industry leader. And that's why it's a bit like football teams, and that could be English football. So if you're in the top flight Premier League and you finish the season, you could have somebody that's in first, second, third, or fourth spot, and you're all in Champions League places. That means that you have qualified for the next year for the Champions League. There is no reason why somebody that qualified in fourth can't then go on to win the Champions League. So when you say something slipped down to fourth, you're not going to write it off like this. It's just moved down to fourth. There's others that are performing better at this time, but that's not to say that somebody in fourth can't perform better. Just like if you are watching football over in America and there is a team that gets through to the playoffs in a wildcard place. Yeah, they're not up there, but they're still in the running. And there's nothing to say that they can't go on and win the Super Bowl, and it's happened in the past where wildcards have won the Super Bowl. So just because something slips down to fourth spot, you're not about to start saying, oh, they're under threat, they're not doing right well. They're in fourth spot. They can still do extremely well. They can still do extremely well in fourth. They could still do extremely well in third, second, or first. There is no reason. They're just not performing as strongly as the ones above them, but they're still performing strongly. So this whole, oh, they're under threat if they slip, or it might prove fatal. Yeah, I don't see there's any premise in that kind of news story. So with that being said, Cardano, they've got some great stuff going on, as we've said before, with the upgrades. No doubt they will come back strong. There's no reason why, if we are in this bull run, that when the money starts recycling, that you don't see Cardano shoot up. And you may see Binance, as Cardano shoots up, they drop back down to fourth, because there's a lot of emphasis being put on Cardano more than Binance at that time, because Binance might not have done something for a while, and Cardano might have done, and the money might move. So it's no real hardship that they're in fourth. But that was really the only kind of price news or lack of news that was about. And with it being a weekend and with the prices as they are from retail, and there's not really much news to go about for this Monday morning. So with that being said, let's pull out the price news pit stop and continue our journey. Next stop on our journey, it is to discover and talk about the Bitcoin ETF and what is next for Bitcoin. The approval of a Bitcoin exchange traded fund in the US has come true. Different actors in the crypto space have tried to receive the green light from the country's regulators for little less than a decade. So on Friday evening, there was a rumour mill going around that the SEC was going to approve a Bitcoin futures ETF, and I took it with a pinch of salt, because it's the SEC, and until it is in place and trading, I'm still going to be sceptical about it, because there's nothing to say that somebody can't come in right at the last minute and stop it. But it is a major step because they have said that it can go ahead. So the likelihood of somebody stopping it is looking slimmer. But the first ETF was actually applied for by the Winklevoss twins at around 2013. So these things have been trying to get pushed through for some time now, and they have never succeeded up until now. But that being said, the ones that are trying to be pushed through, and still we've had plenty of news this year about different companies wanting to be the first ones to get an ETF through. What you've got to remember is this one that's been granted is a Bitcoin futures ETF, and it is a not a spot ETF, where that ETF, a Bitcoin spot ETF, would allow a better tracking in the prices, better fee structures, and the actual ETF would hold Bitcoin in itself, whereas a futures ETF, the people that are investing in it, they're not buying Bitcoin, they're not owning Bitcoin, they're owning a futures contract within that ETF. So you're not actually buying any Bitcoin, you're investing in Bitcoin. Also, you're investing in exposure to Bitcoin, which I don't understand why you just wouldn't buy some. And with that, this links into it nicely that Mark Cuban won't invest in a Bitcoin ETF and prefers to buy Bitcoin directly. The owner of the NBA team Dallas Mavericks, Mark Cuban, has said no to investing in a Bitcoin-based exchange-traded fund, one of which could start trading next week in the US. The Shark Tank star does not see a reason for him to invest in a Bitcoin ETF, emphasizing that he can buy the cryptocurrency directly, which is what I've just been saying, and this is what I believe is. If you want exposure to it, why not buy it? Why do you have to go through a third party? Why do you want to go through an exchange when, as a company, if you can set money aside to go into that exchange, if it can be agreed, if it's a big company and you've got shareholders and it can be agreed, why can't it be agreed that you buy Bitcoin and hold it on your balance sheet? Because if you're confident in a ETF, then surely you would be confident in holding the actual Bitcoin on your books. And as Bitcoin goes up in price or Bitcoin goes down in price, just like it affects the ETF, it'll just affect your balance sheet. But at the end of the day, you would hold that Bitcoin. So I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know enough about ETFs. I haven't looked into them enough. I understand the premise of them, but I do not understand them immensely. But I know enough about them to understand that I can't understand why you wouldn't just buy the physical as much as you can buy a physical digital currency, but have the keys, should we say, when we could buy the keys for that Bitcoin and have that on your books. I just don't see the sense in going through an ETF. I don't know what it's going to do to the market. I'm hoping that it'll do good things because it opens up this whole new door to lots and lots of institutional investment. And with inflation as it is, they might see it as a hedge for the inflation. So the ETF may do well. I hope it does do well. But more than the ETF doing well, I hope that it does well for the cryptocurrency space and has a positive impact on it. And then that then has a positive impact on all the blockchains and then the developments on top of it, so it all cascades down. I hope that for the space and the industry itself and the technology that this, because it's such a pivotal thing, don't get me wrong, there's ETFs already around the country, the world, sorry, but this is the first one in the US. But I just hope that it has a positive impact and not a negative. But with that being said, I think I've said everything that I want to say on it and covered what I need to cover. And let's pull out this pit stop and carry on our journey. The next pit stop along our journey. Praise the Lord. So, the US Senator Loomis thanks God for Bitcoin as Congress discuss raising the debt ceiling. US Senator Cynthia Loomis said thank God for Bitcoin during her speech to the Senate about raising the US debt limit. Bitcoin is not issued by a government, so it's not beholden to the debts that are run up by government, she explained. So basically there's been all sorts of discussions going on in the Senate recently about the raising the debt ceiling of the US, and it is looking more and more likely that they are going to raise the debt ceiling, so America is going to owe more than £30 trillion. Now, that's a phenomenal amount anyway. Your brain can't comprehend what actual $30 trillion is. And they're actually in debt to that much. And the problem is that with this figure, the fact that you're all 30 trillion is a problem in itself, but the fact that it's now getting to the point of where the ratio of debt to your GDP of that country is getting ever larger. So they are above their GDP in debt, which means that they are going to really start struggling to pay the debts. And as they start struggling to pay the debts, the country goes into decline. And you've seen it with other countries that they've had their inflations through the roof. They owe so much money that they can't pay back the loans. Greece being for one of them not that long ago. Their economy was shot, and that they couldn't pay back the loans. They were in a really, really bad way. The economy is still not that great in Greece, but nevertheless, America's going to increase their debt ceiling even further, and this is why when people are talking about, they think that the dollar is collapsing in on itself. This is because they keep on printing all this money. If they don't print this money, if they hit the ceiling and they can't print any more money, or they can't borrow any more money, then what's going to happen is that they can't keep the stock market afloat by pumping money into that. Then you're going to have the Great Depression, and the dollar's going to go even weaker. It's a really complex melting pot at the moment, and this is why people believe that the dollar is imploding on itself, and that is why a great general consensus within the cryptocurrency space is that the Bitcoin is going to become the world reserve because of the finite amount, because it's decentralized, because there can't be more made, and it's not answerable to any governments. Then it can't get itself in a situation like this where if everything's pegged against it, it's not going to go into further debt. It's not going to become weakened. And it can never be manipulated by politics or government to a certain extent. It can be influenced in a way whereas countries may ban it or not accept it or not use it, and that is going to influence it, but it can't be influenced in the way that the dollar can be influenced by the American government, if that makes sense. And yeah, that's why there is some real strong believers in America and the Senate that they are grateful that we're in such an era as they're getting further and further into debt that Bitcoin is about, and they can use it, and hopefully it will become the reserve for the world. With that being said, I'm going to pull out of this pit stop because I've covered everything that I want to speak about on this subject, and let's carry on the journey. In the next pit stop, we are going to El Salvador on this journey. They have been in the news a hell of a lot since their adoption, rightly so. Rightly so, if you make such a monumental move, then you deserve the airtime that you're getting. And it reads, Bitcoin adoption gains momentum in El Salvador as citizens exchange their US dollars for Bitcoin. So, as we've just been mentioning about the Bitcoin and dollar situation, the residents of El Salvador are believing that it is better to hold Bitcoin than dollars. So maybe stuff is coming to fruition, but it reads, El Salvador's mainstream Bitcoin adoption gains momentum during the ongoing bull run as citizens increasingly exchange their US dollars for savings for Bitcoin. El Salvador's mainstream Bitcoin adoption has gained momentum during the ongoing bull run as citizens increasingly exchange their US dollars savings for Bitcoin. President Nayib Bukele shared this new development on Twitter based on the data acquired from El Salvador's in-house wallet service, Chivo. The president said people are inserting way more US dollars than they are wanting to withdraw from the Chivo ATMs. Now, this is brilliant news because the country could have adopted it and said that this is going to be legal tender. And in doing so, the residents could have said, well, that's fantastic, but we're not going to use it. And no matter how much he wanted it to be legal tender, if it doesn't get used, then it's as dead in the water. But the fact that the residents of El Salvador are embracing it and using it and welcoming it, not all of them, but a lot of them, and it seems to be growing, is fantastic news. But, and there is a big but, it's all great to see this kind of sentiment and belief in Bitcoin while we're in a bull run. But the fact that they are putting their US dollar savings into Bitcoin is great. But what happens if there is a market correction? What do the residents do then? What does the economy do then when they've taken all these savings and they've put them into Bitcoin, and then overnight, which many of the residents of El Salvador might not have experienced or ever thought of because they might be so new to this space, and there's a 50% market correction overnight. They've just lost 50% of their savings. Granted, I know they've not lost it until they have sold, but to a normal resident of El Salvador that might be so new to cryptocurrency and digital currencies, they have just watched half of their money that they have exchanged into Bitcoin now gone until the market recovers. But they may not have experienced this before, and they might not think that the market's going to recover, and they might be thinking that, oh my god, it's going to zero, and they might sell, and then there might be turmoil, upheaval in the country. There might be a lot of unrest, political unrest, because it's been great at the moment since they've adopted it, because the markets are in a great place at the moment, and we've seen some great advance in the prices upwards, but we haven't seen massive downturn yet. And I'm just worried a little bit for the country that when we see a correction, which I believe we will do at the end of this bull run, I feel like we are going to see a considerable downturn, that I hope the residents still see the advantages of having a digital currency within their country. I hope that they still see the advantage of the Bitcoin that they have bought and they have not sold it at a low price after buying at a high price, and that they hold on to it so that in years to come it will be worth more than what they paid for it, potentially giving them great financial freedom in the country. And I hope that it doesn't unsettle the country in any sort of way. It's great, this adoption, but it's got to come with some realistic views. And I just hope that the residents are prepared for that. And with that being said, let's pull out this pit stop and carry on the journey. Okay, so I touched on it at the beginning. Can you buy a house with Bitcoin? So this story, the second largest US mortgage lender, UWM, ditches Bitcoin payment plans after running a test. It reads, United Wholesale Mortgage, one of the largest wholesale and purchase lenders in the US, is ditching Bitcoin payment plans after running a test. UWM officially announced Thursday that the company has successfully conducted its first ever cryptocurrency mortgage pilot, accepting 5 crypto payments in October and 1 in September. The company has decided not to go ahead with the Bitcoin payments. UMW did not disclose more information about the test, neither specifying what cryptocurrencies were part of the pilot, nor what companies have assisted the firms in completing it. But they did say, we are proud to be the first mortgage lender to successfully pilot this technology and further demonstrate that we are innovating for the long term. Okay, so there's quite a bit to break out in this. So they've done a test, but they've not explained what cryptocurrencies they've used. But they are not accepting Bitcoin payments. And at the same breath, they are saying that they are demonstrating that they are innovating for long term. So I don't understand how, A, you can be innovating when you have not changed anything because you are not taking the payments. B, why you not accept Bitcoin payments, but at the same time not express which cryptocurrencies were part of the pilots. Because if you tested quite a few cryptocurrencies, why wouldn't you say, we're not going to accept Bitcoin because it's slow transactions and it's got a higher fee and it's not really suitable for what we're doing. But we might accept these currencies because they are faster and cheaper. But they've not said any of that. And they go on to say, due to the combination of incremental cost and regulatory uncertainty in the crypto space, we've concluded that we aren't going to extend beyond a pilot at this time. And with this, there's never really been any sort of regulatory overview of it. So when they did this test, they've cited this as one of the reasons why they wouldn't use it. But if it wasn't there in the first place, and it never looks like it was going to be there in the near future, or if it is, it's going to be quite messy. I don't understand how you can do this test and then state one of the reasons which was already there as I don't know. I just feel like they've done this test. They've not told us any of the results. They've not told us what they've used, and the outcome of it is that they're not going to do it. Why not just do this test? And you don't need to tell us. You don't need to tell us. You've done a test. You're not feeling it, and you're not going to accept it. And we don't need to know. It'd be nice if you started using cryptocurrencies, but if you're not going to, and you're not going to let us know how you've used the cryptocurrencies and who's helped you with it, then there's no possible chance that anybody can help you grow. You've just told us nothing and told us how you're not going to do something. And if you want to, and it says that they've helped learn about crypto payment transactions. If you just want to learn about crypto payment transactions, you don't have to run this multi-currency test for a company. The head of the company could literally set up a crypto account, buy a little bit of crypto, get his second in command to set up a crypto account, and send him that money. There you go. You've learnt the crypto payment transactions. It's as simple as that. There'll be applications built on top of it and user interfaces, but essentially that is the same as it's always going to be. Regardless of what you're purchasing, you are going to send it from one crypto wallet to another crypto wallet. I just feel like it's all very much hot air from them, and they've not really progressed in any sort of way. So I have no idea why they've released this information or what they thought that they could gain from it. But nevertheless, that's you still can't buy a mortgage with cryptocurrency news. With that, I'm going to pull away from this pit stop and continue the journey. And we are going to Brazil for the final trip of this journey, and we are going to pull in at this pit stop. And this is how to parent correctly. This is a great story to end on, I feel, as it reads, Brazilian toddler makes over 6,500% profit on her first Bitcoin holding. A father's gift of one Bitcoin, roughly $915, to his newborn daughter back in 2017 is now worth more than $60,000. What a brilliant, brilliant gift present for your newborn child. And not only that, she's only 4 years old. Imagine if he decides that it's going to be her 18th birthday when she finally gets this Bitcoin. She could be financially free potentially in 14 years. Imagine what the price of Bitcoin could be in 14 years. It's an unbelievable story, and I'm so glad that people have accepted the potential of Bitcoin and thought, what a great present this could be, rather than spending it on stuff that the daughter's going to grow out of, stop playing or break, or on. By the time she's 18, she won't even remember it. It's fantastic news, and I wish them all the best. I can't wait to see what the price of Bitcoin is in 14 years, because no doubt this story will come back up in 14 years, and we'll see a picture of her, and she will be financially free. She'll have a great house. She'll have a great future ahead of her, and the father will be a hero for what is the most savviest investment present I could ever imagine getting for your newborn. So yeah, well done to him. I can't applaud him enough. Well done to her, because she's going to do great out of this. And with that being said, let's pull out of this pit stop and go to the prices. Okay, as we stop the journey, we're just going to touch on the prices. And unfortunately, as you can see, it is a bit of a red day at the time of recording this. I have recorded this on Sunday evening, ready to go out on the Monday morning. And as it stands, still with an hour and 3/4 to go before close, we're sat at 59,300, down 2.63 on Bitcoin. So it's got 700 to go up before the end of the day. Whether it's going to do it, probably not now, is my gut feeling. But nevertheless, it's still in a strong position. Ethereum's down 3.5%. Binance is down 1.3%. Cardano's down 3.1%. And XRP's down 7.5%. Solana 2.3%. Polkadot down 3%. And Dogecoin down 2.6%. So yeah, that's your top 10 coins close out, and yeah, it's not too much in the red, and it's still looking healthy. The sentiment's still there. There's still euphoria. I still feel like the market's going in the right direction. It's going to be an exciting week ahead of us, and I think that, yeah, we're going to have to hold on to our hats. I think it's going to be a very turbulent week, with lots of news, lots of prices, lots of movements. It's going to be great. So with that being said, as always, this was never financial advice, nor am I a financial advisor. I'm just trying to bring you the education in the space that we love, called crypto and blockchain. And with that being said, I hope you have a fantastic Monday. I hope you crush the beginning of the week and set yourself up brilliantly for the rest of the week. Thank you very much for watching till the end. Really appreciate it. Please don't forget to click that subscribe button that's showing now. Goodbye.